fleas are placed inside the jar, undisturbed for 3 days. Then, when the jar is opened, the fleas will not jump out. In fact, the fleas will never jump higher than the level set by the lid. Their behaviour is now set for the rest of their lives.
How it feels to drop out of high school at 17 years old. Of course, everyone else has a different kind of, let's say, setting, but I'm gonna explain what happened with me. I'm gonna answer some common questions like, what did your parents say about it? Do you regret it? What happened with your friends? Those questions will be covered. Let's begin. If you don't know who I am, I'm Alex, I'm 18 years old and I'm on a mission to become financially free, and with this YouTube channel, my goal is to help young men on self-improvement succeed in life by just sharing my stories and lessons that I've learned from my journey. So let's begin. How it feels to drop out of high school at 17 for me. Of course, this is my perspective, okay? Why quit? I mean, how did you even consider quitting? I mean, this is not something conventional that most people do, but I saw what's possible. I'm gonna put it that way for the beginning. I saw what's possible. And I did not see me achieving my desired future with my current path. And by current path, I just mean school and the conventional way of school. Then college, 5 years, then get a job. This was not for me. And I literally felt like I did not even belong there. I'm talking about school. Because no one I knew from school had actual real aspirations to become someone special and actually achieve success. And yes, here it comes. I watched Andrew Tate. I discovered maybe self-improvement and the whole movement maybe 2 to 3 years ago. But when Andrew Tate came into the scene, I was quite passionate about what he was talking about. And I'm actually gonna share some of the videos that influenced my decision to quit. Of course, those are not the main ones, but I just saw them in my gallery while I was searching material for this video.
So what's a good wage in England? 100 grand a year?
100 grand, yeah.
100 grand a year, good wage, yeah? What's the, on 100 grand, what are you paying, 40 or 50% tax?
Probably about 40%.
Okay, so let's say you're getting 60 grand a year. Let's imagine you're earning 100 grand a year.
You're gonna watch
You're successful inside of the matrix. You're a successful slave. You make 60 grand a year. Let's imagine you can live for free, eat for free, you walk to work, you never buy clothes. Let's imagine you save 100% of your money, 60 grand each year. I don't want to do the math off the top of my head, but my Bugatti was 5.2. What is that? Is that like 90 years? That's a lifetime of slave work without spending a penny ever once. To by the time you're fucking geriatric and can't function, you might be able to buy one of my 30 cars. If that does not tell you the matrix must be cracked and there's other ways to make money, then nothing fucking will.
I think you get it. I mean, he's actually right. I haven't changed my mind for any of those stuff. I'm actually gonna give you another one that I saved in my gallery, and it was actually about school in particular. This was what I was watching when I was still going to school. I think you get the point. I had a different mindset ingrained in me when I was watching those kinds of stuff, because of course my inner circle, my friends, my family, no one else was actually having this mindset about money, about life, about success, about school. So this is where everything came from. It was not from someone that I knew. No, it was from the internet, and particularly from Andrew Tate and of course other self-improvement videos. Now, Andrew Tate was not enough to just make me quit school and just do what? What exactly? I did not have a business while I was at school, but I discovered this guy, Thomas Gonnet. Now, this is where the actual idea for a business started, and this is particularly for SMMA. This was where the idea was first developed. And by the way, I actually found out that 2 months ago, this same guy, Thomas Gonnet, was actually a school dropout as well, or a college dropout. Not entirely sure, but I did not know that 18 months ago when I was about to quit. But this is where the actual idea for a business started, and this is what I was watching. When I come back from school, I go to school, of course, in the morning around 7 a.m. and I come back around 2 p.m. and I actually go to the gym. So maybe I'm home at 4 p.m. 4 p.m. all the way until maybe 10, 11 p.m. This is what I was watching while I was still at school, because I did not quit immediately, of course. Well, I kind of did. But for 7 hours a day, maybe for 2 to 3 weeks, I was watching courses on this SMMA stuff. And those are some photos that I found in my gallery. So this is the guy, Thomas Gannett. This is a call that he had with a client. I think this was a sales call. I actually took those screenshots, I remember, because I just wanted to copy everything. Yeah, this was my plan, to copy everything he did. And I actually don't remember this guy, but I know that I remember this photo. So yes, I was watching his course as well. By the way, if you're in the SMMA space, those courses, particularly this one, did not really do anything. Whatever. Let's continue. So why quit? After I discovered SMMA, I started on SMMA in October 2022. And for a whole month, it was me literally cold calling local businesses, gyms, online stores for cups. I was calling online stores for paintings that were selling paintings, art. I was calling online stores for cups that were selling cups. I was calling up dentists, beauty salons, everything that I could find on Google Maps, and it was in my local country because I live in Bulgaria and I did not actually speak English very well, so I actually decided to go with the Bulgarian market, and I was just calling every single business that I could find in Google Maps, and I was offering them more clients. I was literally, hello, do you want more clients? Are you looking to get more clients? And after they say yes, what do you think I did? Yes, I hung up. I maybe had 200 cold calls that people would say, yeah, what's that about? What's your business like? What's your offer? I would just hang up on them. But listen, this actually was maybe one of the best things that I did when I was starting out, because this fucking thing built up my resistance tolerance, because I was terrible at cold calling. I did not want to speak to my friends on the phone, let alone call businesses to offer them services. So that's actually a very good thing that I did. But as you would imagine, I was dog shit. And mid-November, so 1 month later, I actually chose my niche and I started seeing success with cold calling. And I actually had my first sales calls, but I did not manage to close any of them, but I had them. I mean, I had maybe 3 sales calls, and I actually managed to book a meeting because I was watching Thomas Gannett and how he was booking meetings. So yes, I copied it. Then when I saw success, I decided to dedicate 10 hours a day to this business. And 10 hours a day is not possible with my current schedule when I was at school, because I was having school and gym all the way from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then I had to eat, shower, and maybe do my business. I did not do any homework, by the way. And I decided to skip school. This was my idea, to just start skipping school. And I skipped school for actually 2 whole weeks prior to quitting. And I mean skip school as in, like, I did not tell my teacher anything. I mean my parents knew that I was skipping school, but I was in my 11th grade. I was in my 11th year, and people did not actually care if you were going to school that much. I mean, they were, but not that much. And yeah, so for 2 whole weeks, I was skipping school and I was working on my business. As you would imagine, this is a very short-term think and play, because what's gonna happen after those 2 weeks? Am I gonna skip another 2 weeks? That's a whole month. And I think after maybe 50 days, I don't really remember the exact number, but maybe after 50 days, you get called out in the principal's office to have a talk. And yeah, so this was, maybe I was on 40 days skipped, because I was actually not that consistent with school even before I was thinking of quitting, but whatever. I was in a bit of trouble because I was skipping school. I had to go to the principal's office to talk to them, and what am I gonna say? I'm doing a business, I don't want to go to school. So I had to come up at least with a semi-plan to quit, because that's what I essentially wanted to do, to quit and work on my business full time. And this is the thing that had to be done first, and this was to have a very hard conversation with my parents. And as you would imagine, for them it's literally like the end of the fucking world. You have to totally shift their mindset that this online business is not a fake thing and it actually exists, and you can be left with a pretty bad pill to swallow, because if you don't manage to make their mind, you have a hard choice to make. Because if you're 17 and you haven't got any money, you are broke, you literally have nowhere to go if you don't have your parents. So I kind of had to change their mind, and if I didn't manage to do that, well, I was going to be homeless. A homeless school dropout, and it did not please me. This idea did not please me, so I had to kind of talk to them. But what did they say? This is probably your main question. And yeah, they were not quite happy, let's put it that way. But from a very young age, my parents actually let me make my own choices. I mean, I was that kid that maybe at 10 years old, 11 years old, they started letting me do whatever I wanted because I was not stupid. Yeah, I mean, I was going outside of my city to ride a bike. I was not coming home maybe until 2, 3 a.m. They did not call me. I mean, yeah, maybe they sometimes called me, but they didn't want to put any rules on me, because I was quite free to do whatever I wanted. But I'm telling you, this was not the case for most of my friends, maybe 95%, because they wanted to do stupid shit. I mean, I wanted to, but I was not that stupid to do dumb shit, okay? So with this in mind, my parents always, as far as I remember, have let me do whatever I wanted. And I showed them because, as I mentioned, I was skipping school for 2 whole weeks straight. And I think 2 weeks before, 15 days before I actually started skipping school, not quit, skipping school, I was doing this thing. I was coming back from school and I was just working my whole day on this business. And my parents saw it and they knew about it. So all they saw from me was working towards a better future and actually trying to make money online. They did not see me playing any video games, because that's what I actually used to do, maybe 12 hours a day from the age of 11 to 16, 17. I mean, 7 whole years I was just coming back from school, or I had a summer vacation and I was playing video games 12 hours a day. And that's all they knew I was doing on my PC. It was actually good that I showed them that I was actually working. But for example, if I was going to my parents and I told them, Mom, Dad, I want to quit school because it's a waste of time. It is. And when they say no, because that's what they're going to tell me, what do you think would have happened if I just responded, yeah, but it's useless. I don't want to go because it's boring. I just want to play video games all day, because that's all I was doing. If I came up with that fucking statement, that stupid statement, I probably would have been a school dropout and be homeless, because yes, as I said, I was eventually going to quit no matter what happened, okay? So, even though I was working and I did not want to continue school, and my parents knew that I was working on my business, they were not happy that I wanted to quit, okay? And a person actually once gave me this example, that's after I quit, but they said that me quitting school feels like the same shock for my parents, or feels the same for my parents as me telling them I'm gay. Do you understand? So it would be the same kind of shock for them. So to kind of explain the whole situation and how they felt and how I felt after that, imagine going to your parents and telling them, Mom, Dad, I'm gay. They would be fucking stood up in their chair and they would think that they failed as parents, and they would probably be embarrassed by you, and they wouldn't want to talk about it with their friends, and they would prefer to lie about it and not tell anything about it if someone asks. And that's okay. And I totally understand them, because if my child came to me like that, I would slap him so hard that his testosterone levels would rise up by 400% and his masculinity would be bigger than me, if that's even a thing. But yeah, that's the best way to explain how my parents felt about that. And of course, I'm from a traditional place in the world. I'm from Eastern Europe. So if you're from the US and the whole shithole with the fucking movements there, maybe your family wouldn't care if you told them that you were gay or you were switching gender. Whatever, it's not normal here. So in short, thankfully, I was not completely out of my mind and I had a plan of what I was going to do with my business and my time when I eventually quit. And I didn't only say that, I actually showed it to my parents. But yeah, this is how they felt. They were quite shocked, not happy with it. They were embarrassed by me for quite some time. And they probably felt like they failed as parents. This is probably what happened. But this brings me to my next point. If you don't have a plan, an actual plan of what you're gonna do after you quit school, don't fucking think of quitting because you're a fucking idiot. Okay? Next, how it actually feels for me. I'm actually gonna talk about me. How it feels to drop out of high school at 17. There is one main emotion and it is fear. It's fear of the unknown because you don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, let alone in a year, because your business idea could go to shit tomorrow, literally. Everything could go shit tomorrow. And you don't know it. But this is a fear and you have to go through it. You have fear of whether you make it, of course, because you kind of don't have a choice, by the way. I mean, if you quit school, you kind of don't have a choice not to make it, so you have a pretty good motivation to work. And you have fear of judgment, fear of opinions of others, friends, family, other people that you don't even know, but they have an opinion about it. And those phrases I actually heard pretty often. You're wasting your time. You have all the time in the world after you finish school or college. This is actually one of the most annoying conversations I had with people because they're brain dead. And if it was easy, everyone would do it. I had this quite often, by the way. How is making a business and learning to sell, learning to be persuasive, learning to talk, how is that a waste of time? Please explain, because no one else could. You have all the time in the world. Do you know who said that? People that worked a 9 to 5 and had a boss that told them what to do. And they couldn't do anything about it because they would lose their job. And they have only one stream of income because they depend on their boss. This is the people that actually told me, you will have all the time in the world, because they wasted their time and they want me to waste my time as well. If it was easy, everyone would do it. Yes. Yes, of course. I didn't think it was gonna be easy. By the way, I don't know why people thought that I thought it would be easy. I thought it would be fucking hard. And I was right, by the way. But this is why only 1% of people actually continue doing it and don't quit, because it's hard. And it's actually a good thing, because if, as you said, if it was easy, everyone would do it and they would have 10 times the competition, and it's not going to be much fun after that. But this is why it's actually good that it's not an easy thing. It's good that it's hard, because more for me, less people in my niche. But this is the conversations I constantly had with people that I met, new people. It was gonna come to the point that, yeah, we're talking, which grade are you in? Because this is what people ask you, I don't know. And I would tell them, I actually quit school. And they would tell me, you can't quit, you're crazy. They said, you can't. And I said, why? And they said, you can't. You just can't. And I asked, can you give me an actual reason? And they told me, everyone has to finish school. And I thought, what the fuck? You're like a rat. You don't even know what you're talking about. They were repeating the same thing that society told them. Yeah, everyone should go to school. Yeah, no. those were some of the statements that people told me. You will regret this. Mark my words. You will have time after. Yes, I actually already talked about that, but you have time after you graduate and you can do whatever you want. This is the dumbest decision of your life, but you will understand it when it's too late. And someone watched Andrew Tate too much. They're actually right. And I don't regret it. Next. However, fear, this emotion of fear, coupled with anger, is what kept me and my ass working 12 and 14 hours a day for 3 months straight. And I didn't need that much sleep. I mean, I was maybe sleeping 6 hours sometimes I did not sleep at all. And I did not eat often. I mean, I had maybe 2 meals per day, and those meals were I remember that I was going to my kitchen and I just didn't want to waste time because I wanted to work on my business and I didn't want to waste too much time eating or cooking. So I just grabbed 2 pieces of bread. I put some mayo between them. I grabbed some ham. 20 minutes, boom, easy. Total, that's maybe 20 minutes was maybe the total time that I spent for eating and cooking in a whole day. So it was actually pretty convenient. I wouldn't actually recommend it after you start making some money, by the way. Don't do that. It's not healthy. You're gonna have brain fog more often, so don't do that. Common questions I got. Do you regret it? Short answer, absolutely not. In this 1 year, I mean, a little bit more, maybe 15 months. In this 15 months that I've quit school for, I learned so much more about business, psychology, English, because I did not speak English, not at all, but I was not good, okay? Sales, communication skills, etc. Things that actually matter in the real world. And for 15 months of quitting school and working on my business, I learned more than 11 years of school. It's fucking insane. And maybe not quick maths, because I quite often just Google things like 123 plus 728, because I don't want to waste my brain points and I just need a calculator to do my maths. But I don't care, okay? I was actually kind of good at maths, so yeah, you just don't use it that much. Another question, would you recommend I quit? Depends. I mean, in my scenario, I got an actual business idea, because most people just don't like school and they want to play video games. Don't quit. But yeah, I had a business idea that I actually saw some success from in the first month. I had some sales calls and I actually almost got people to pay me money. And main thing is that I saw other people winning. So I was very convinced that I could do it if other people can. And this is actually a very good mindset that you should integrate in your life as well. But the other thing is that I actually had my brother behind my back. So in the worst case scenario, at least I had him. I was not going to be totally left alone and homeless. And other thing is that I was able to clearly communicate my mission and my goals and my plan to my parents to actually get them convinced that it's the right thing to do for me and it's not the end of the world. I actually told them, in the worst case scenario, what could happen? I can just quit school and maybe after a year, let's say I regret it. You were right, I regret it. And after a year, I say, okay, I'm just gonna go back and finish my school later. Because you could do that. I mean, I could quit and I could come back a year later and I would just have to do another year more. So it's not a big problem. And this is what I told them. But to be honest, I was not gonna do that even in the worst case scenario, even if I completely failed. But this conversation I had with them got them a little bit less stressed out. Next. Do you think school is useless? Mostly yes. Not totally. So look, everyone is saying, yeah, but you're learning how to socialize with other people and school is very important. Bullshit. First, most of the 13 to 18 year olds are brain dead, and all they think about is video games, alcohol, parties, and whatever pointless things they think about in order to get accepted, because they do that to fit in. I actually forgot what people those ages do and think about, because I don't surround myself with them anymore. So second, as I said, I learned more things from 1 year or 15 months of doing business and actually putting myself out there, out of my comfort zone, and doing some real work than I learned from school for 11 years. Now, would I say it's completely useless? No. You kind of have to get the grips of how the world works and learn the fundamentals of life, which, to be honest, wouldn't take more than 5 years with a proper educational system. But after that, let people choose what they want to do and what they want to specialize in. You want to be a doctor? Good. Go study. Go specialize in this. But you don't need to know whole 10 years of history books and events. You don't need to know which country produces the most milk every year. For me, that's literally a joke, to be honest. But the school environment, however, is the one thing that I totally hate. You have to raise your hand and wait for permission to go to the toilet. You don't wrestle or play rough with other boys. Don't play with other boys. Don't be aggressive. If someone is bullying you, you should tell the teacher and the principal. Fucking hell. In my class, we actually had 2 guys. I still remember them. They were constantly getting humiliated by my friends. And sometimes I would actually think, damn, they're pretty fucked, because you can't punch those guys in the face because you'd get in trouble. However, if I was in the same situation, I would have done this, and I have done this in the past. I remember I was going up the stairs on my school, and I don't remember clearly, but one guy just said something stupid to my face, and he was literally face to face to me. I just punched him in the nose. He didn't do anything about it because he knew that he was stupid about it. He was bigger than me, by the way. He was maybe 90 kgs and I was 7th grade and I was 50 kgs, but whatever, do it. If someone is bullying you, punch them in the face. In the nose specifically. It hurts more. Okay? And this is because everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. So for those 2 guys, they're actually still in school. Yeah, so if you're watching this, punch them in the face. You have my permission if you need it. They can tell the teacher about it or the principal. However, when the whole class finds out that he has talked with the teacher about it, they would fucking call him a bitch for that. And I would as well. Because as a man, this is not how you solve your problems. This is not the way. You don't tell someone else about your problems and wait for them to solve it. You go out there and solve it yourself. So yeah, punch them in the face, in the nose specifically. So another question that I got is, what about your social life and friends? Short answer, you watching this right now, you should probably cut them off as well. And look, I have absolutely zero regret that I cut off maybe 97% of my friends. And if you boil it down, what does a friend actually mean those days for young people? A buddy to get drunk with, or a person that makes you laugh with unintelligent and stupid jokes? No thanks. This is not a friend that I would want to have in my life, and you shouldn't as well. But regarding the social life, what kind of social life do you think a 17-year-old broke boy has these days? Go out to parties and get drunk with a hope of getting late or get some attention from girls and have a high chance of getting in unnecessary fights, or just get drunk in your friend's home because this is what people would do, or just play video games while you talk on Discord. This is the cool social life that people in their teenage years have. And I can only talk about my country, of course, because kids these days, when they're 12 to 14 years old, they get drunk from this age and they start having sex. So yeah, this is the social life here. Apart from that, I do believe that if you have quality people in your life, because I shit it right now, maybe 95% of people and friends that you have, but if you actually have quality friends and people in your life, you should do everything to keep them. And I actually love the idea of just having a group of boys that you actually admire as people and respect each other, and for example go have a game of basketball together. This is actually one of the coolest things that I did as a kid, and I don't regret any of those. Those were the coolest moments that I actually had. But apart from that, the social life of a teenager is pretty shit. You don't have any money to do cool shit or travel somewhere nice, and even if you do have, you really can't stay there for more than 2 days in the weekends because you have school after that on Monday. So it's pretty shitty place to be in a pretty shitty social life, to be honest. Now, in short, what I actually would suggest you do and take from this video in short is, I think if you're watching this and if you're relating to the social life and friends that I described, I think you should cut them off as well. And because I know it's easier said than done, here is a practical advice that you can use. You can use progressive deload. If you go to the gym, you should know what this means. If you're going out to play video games with your friends every day, start doing it and playing with them every 2 to 3 days, and progressively try to lower the time you spend with them. And after a while, you'll be down maybe to once per week to play video games with them, and eventually you would be so disconnected from them to the point that they wouldn't actually notice that you're leaving and that you have disappeared. But for cases that they're in the same school as you or in the same class as you, it's a bit harder, but the rule still applies. Progressively deload the time you spent with them to the point that they wouldn't actually see that you have disappeared from them and you left them. And this has worked actually for me pretty good, because even though I quit school, I think for 2 months I was still talking with some of my friends and I was hanging out with them, people from school, and I just slowly started cutting off contact week by week to the point that I eventually just things got quiet, and I was not having a contact with them at all, and they didn't even notice. And I mean, they probably did, but they didn't care that much if I did it straight from the beginning, cut them off at all. I mean, that's I actually did that with some of my friends, but whatever. And a bonus tip that I would give you is that I unfollowed every single person on social media at once. And to be honest, this was a mistake that I made, because there was no progressive deload, and I actually constantly had people ask me about it. Why did I unfollow them on Instagram? And even my teacher at the time messaged me to ask why I unfollowed my friends. So yeah, do it slowly to the point that they wouldn't even notice. And just be prepared to be lonely. I mean, I'm not saying that you should cut them off and you should expect to be happier and more fulfilled. No, you're actually going to be in a pretty shit place for the first month or so, or 2 months, because you have no one else to talk shit with. But yeah, at least you'll be away from degeneracy and stupidity, because this is what people at 17 are. They're degenerate and they're stupid. I don't think that I was actually any different from them, and this is why I actually was in the same friend group as them. But if you're not convinced that you should cut them off right now, you can watch this video of Alex Cormosi, and I actually didn't put it here. Yeah, it's this one. No New Friends, My Extreme Views on Friendship. Go watch it right now after this video finishes. And those are some of the things I did after I quit school. I avoided going to school at all costs, and I actually broke that quite a few times, and it was extremely uncomfortable. I completely cut off 97% of my friends, and I unfollowed every single person on social media. I did not talk to anyone besides my family, maybe once a day when I finished work at 10, 11, 12 a.m. And if I see familiar faces from school, I would go the other direction. I would actually show you what I did when I was going to, when I quit school and I was going to the gym, because my gym is quite near the school that I was going to. So imagine this was my school and I live here, and this was the path that I should take to school. And my gym is here. So for the first 2 months of me quitting school and working on my business, I was still going to the gym. Don't get me wrong, I was still looking after my health. Not that much, but... And I had to go through the same path that everyone else was going to go to school. And if I go to the gym and I follow this path, I was riding a bike, so I was quite fast. And I didn't see people and I didn't have to stop that much. But if I see people, let's say for example, this was me and I was riding a bike. This is a bike. And maybe I saw a person, a fat person from my school here. I would see them and they were heading that direction to go to school, brokies. Kidding. Not. And I would go here, I would recognize them in the back and I would do I would do this. I would go to the other street just so they don't see me, because I didn't want to have any contact with them. And I avoided them because it was going to be uncomfortable for me. This is what I did. I couldn't sleep properly for weeks. I constantly had crippling thoughts of failure and success. It was not that bad in my mind, but I shaved my head. It was pretty nasty. I didn't like how I looked, and I decided, I'm not going out. I mean, why not now? I got a driver license as fast as possible, because the law in Bulgaria is that you have to finish at least 10th grade. And I did not want to risk it and wait, and perhaps eventually they changed the laws and I was gonna be left with my bike for the whole life. So that's why I actually got my driver license as fast as possible, and now I drive. What I did was I was waking up at 7 a.m. and I was going straight to work, and I was working maybe until 11 p.m. all the way to 1 a.m. Otherwise I would literally lose my mind, because I had endless energy and I knew that other people were doubting me and they were going to school and they were awake, and I wanted to be awake for the same time but work on my business the same hours that they were awake. I don't know, my mind was really fucked at that point, but I kept going to the gym and that probably kept me sane. I signed my first client on the 13th of December. So this was 1 month in business. I mean, I don't count October, because literally for the whole month of October I was just cold calling random businesses and hanging up on them. So 1 month I got my first client. I was maybe eating 2 times a day, and this is why I actually lost 7 kgs, and I'm 1.7 meters, 1.77 meters. So that's quite a lot for me. But I managed to close 6 clients in total to this point. But to be honest, I've been losing maybe 1 client each 2 to 3 months. So most of the time I'm just staying at around 1 or 2 clients at a time, and that's because actually of me self-sabotaging and not taking advantage of things, but that's a story for another day. I learned to sell and talk persuasively to actually make people buy from me and believe me. By the way, not much, but my conversion rate on my sales calls and other calls that I had was around 25 to 30%, and I'm actually offering a done-for-you solution, so I had to co-op leads for my clients and sell them as well. So I was selling maybe for 1 year straight every day. So yeah, I became pretty decent, I would say, and I actually learned what hard feels like, and I've actually had quite a few mental breakdowns, but I got through them. So things I will do: I want to hit 10k per month consistently. I want to move out from my parents' home because I want to cut off the scarcity mindset of money, because I would say this is maybe one of my biggest bottlenecks, is my mindset around money, because I've constantly had the actual chance to book a lot of meetings and close a lot of clients, but I self-sabotaged. And I would say this is because of my shitty mindset around money, and I want to fix that. And I think if I change my environment, this is a big thing for me and will be the big needle mover to change my mindset. I want to connect with high-level, like-minded individuals because I know there are a lot of them. I actually want to start traveling more because I was working maybe 1.5 years, 15 months straight, and I maybe had 2 weeks total of vacation, and this is a brokey time to have vacations for, 2 weeks only, what the fuck. So I want to travel to Bali, Taiwan, Dubai, etc. And I want to get to 80 kgs because I lost 10 kgs maybe. I'm actually pretty lean now, but I'm just very small. I mean, very small. So I want to get to 80 kgs and get buffed again. So that actually rounds off the video of how it feels like to quit school, and I answered some common questions, so I hope you got value from the video. Now, if you want to connect with me on a more personal level, my Instagram is going to be in the description below this video. I post pretty much every day, so you can check it out if you want to, and you can send me a DM if you have a problem or a question that maybe I could answer, and if I could, and if I have the time, I would answer it, and I'm gonna write back. So that's it. And if you want to see more content similar to this, you can just like the video, and the algorithm is actually gonna show you similar content to mine. And you can also comment if you have any video ideas that you would like me to cover. I do read every comment. And you can subscribe if you want to see me more often on your feed. So thank you so much for actually watching this video and sticking with me for this whole time. I'm really grateful for it, and I'm gonna see you next time when I upload. It's probably gonna be next Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.